Hello, everyone. This is my FERPA and student data training here at Riverside USD 114. So to start off, what is FERPA? FERPA is a federal law that protects the confidentiality of student education records. FERPA is also best known for, and it's most influential of the laws governing over the student's privacy. Oversight and enforcement of FERPA rests with the U.S. Department of Education. An interesting tip that I found in the resources that FERPA makes an exception to its restrictions on data sharing should knowledge of such information be necessary to protect the health and safety of students or other persons in connection with the emergency. I thought this was very crucial to know that in emergency situations, there are exceptions made to FERPA. What rights does FERPA provide and not provide? They provide the right of parents and adult age students to inspect and receive copies of their own records, right to deny access to others outside of the school system, hearings to correct any errors, a complaint process handled by the Family Compliance Office of the U.S. Department of Education, and some things that it doesn't do or doesn't do well. Does not give individuals a right to sue the school. Can put burden on students and parents to respond to opt-out opportunities, and also does not dictate requirements for safeguarding educational records. And down below here, FERPA affords parents certain rights with respect to their children's education records maintained by educational agencies and institutions to which FERPA applies. These include the right to inspect and review their children's educational records to seek if they have their educational records amended, and also to have some control over the disclosure of the educational records. Some simple ways to adhere to FERPA. So complying with it would be raise FERPA awareness. As school leaders and school employees, we need to be aware of what's going on, as well as sharing that information as we see fit. Confirm that FERPA applies to you. Everybody plays a part in FERPA, especially in the school system and at Riverside USD 114. We all need to know the rights, protections, and exceptions to FERPA. Choose compliant vendors or third parties. We need to be very careful, and I'll touch on this in a little bit about what vendors and third parties we do allow, and they need to be trusted as well. We need to train all school employees on this, and it kind of touches back to the awareness portion. Implement compliant policies and procedures. We need to make sure we encrypt files and emails for protection, and implement other prevention tools. So, an education record. What is an education record? Could include, or what is on an education record? Student grades, immunizations or health records, any disciplinary referrals or records, any progress reports, academic or physical testing results, their grade point average, and any attendance records. So what is not on an education record? Private records, any notes that any teachers have taken, any law enforcement records, employment records or grades on peer graded assignments prior to putting them into the grade book. Some easy things that we need to look to avoid when we're talking about FERPA, right? Avoid free vendors. They could be data mining, and that clearly isn't allowed under FERPA. But we just need to make sure that the vendors are appropriate and they have appropriate safeguards to hold them accountable if something were to go wrong. Withholding or gaining access to student records. We must know the nuances of the law, the ins and outs of what we can and can't do, because we don't want to be in a situation where we're withholding something that we should be gaining access to, or gaining access to somebody, or giving access to somebody that isn't necessarily supposed to have that access. Talking about students or records, as staff, we need to make sure we know exactly what we're doing, and avoiding discussing students and or their records to others outside. For principal, even if it kind of mentioned that if a principal reads the report, he cannot disclose the information under the FERPA because it is a report. Know who qualifies as a school official. Those are able to disclose the records. Those just kind of have to be chosen inside the school system. Be cautious of what you send via email. You never know where it's going to end up or how it's going to be sent. And make sure staff is diligent on social media. So some technology and what that relates to FERPA. So cameras are security cameras, surveillance have been added to a lot of schools. They notify school. I feel like some things that we need to do would be to notify school communities about the use of cameras on the grounds. Install only in places with low expectations of privacy. We don't want to invade anybody's privacy, going into in and out of any restrooms or anything that could cause issues down the road for the school district. Consult with the legal teams prior to enabling audio recordings. Establish protocols for maintaining and retaining recordings. So understand how long we'll keep certain recordings, and consult Family Policy Compliance Office when evaluating requests for access by parents, police, or media. So kind of destroying records. There were 3 ways noted. One would be clear. Resetting devices for factory setting, not allowing rewriting. So you're just resetting the devices to its factory setting and not allowing somebody to come in, and once that's in place, there's no rewriting the records or data. Purge, physical or logical techniques to make target data retrievable. And lastly, destroy. State-of-the-art laboratory techniques and results in the subsequent inability to use the media for storage of data. And here are my references. Thank you very much.